how does one go from Missouri Valley College to be the NAIA National Wrestling Champion in the 177-pound category as you were to the WWE? Walk me through how you got started on that journey, Bobby.
Oh, boy. That was a long journey. I grew up in Kansas. My dad was in the military, so we were all over the place. I ended up getting a scholarship to Missouri Valley. Went up there, and I was pretty successful down there. I took fourth as a freshman, and then I won nationals my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And 177 went to 184 to 197. And then when I was at the Olympic Training Center after college, I wrestled at 96 kilos, which was 211 pounds. And I was pretty successful there. I took second to the World Championships, the Military World Championships, and represented the United States Army team at World Championships and for nationals a few years. And then Kurt Angle, which was wrestling in the WWE, came down to the Olympic Training Center when I was training, and he and I started talking, and he was like, man, you got a great look. You ever think about doing professional wrestling? I was a big fan of Kurt's growing up anyway, from high school to college and into the WWE, so I was a fan of his, and I already knew Kurt, so it was kind of a big deal that he came to me, but he kind of opened up the door for me to come in. And to make a long story short, after I met Kurt, I was still at the Olympic Training Center, and I was training to make it to the 2004 Olympics. That was my goal. Mm-hmm. And on the way through, after me and Kurt, a few months later, I was in a bank. The bank got robbed, and these guys came in shooting. I took a dive down to the ground, split my knee open, ended my amateur wrestling career.
Get out of here.
And, I ended my amateur wrestling career because I landed on my knee, exploded my knee, and I had to get my bursa taken out, my meniscus. It just huge damage. But before that, a couple months before that, Kurt had saw me at the Olympic Training Center. He already passed my number along. So after I had surgery, one of the guys from WWE called me up, and I'm sitting there laying on my couch thinking, I can't believe this happened. 20-something years of amateur wrestling. This is my main goal. These guys come in, shot up a bank, ended everything for me. I didn't know what to do. I was like, what next? Sitting on my couch praying. I don't know where I got a call from WWE. They were like, hey, we saw you at the last wrestling tournament. Kurt spoke really highly of you. We want to bring you in for a tryout. And, I thought it was a joke. I thought, this is crazy. I'm on my couch praying, and out of nowhere this happens. But then, I rushed my rehab and got through, went down to the tryout, didn't tell them nothing about my knee or anything like that. I wanted to keep that completely quiet.
Sure.
Because I didn't want them to cut it out or not give me an opportunity because of the knee. So I didn't say anything. So I had to rehab like crazy, and then I was able to go to the tryout, and I was able to fake it through the tryout. I looked good at the tryout. They liked me at the tryout, so they offered me a contract. So from then, it was all history. I came through, and I always tell people, when I got into WWE's been my Olympic gold medal. This WWE Championship was my Olympic gold medal because it's at the top, and that's where I wanted to get, and that's where I trained my whole life for. So when I got into WWE, I just busted my butt for years and stayed on the grind, and finally, I won the WWE Championship, and finally, I get to main event WrestleMania. 14 years or 17 years since that date of the bank robbery.
No kidding. So
yeah, I really skimmed through the story. The story is really elaborate, but I didn't want to go into too much detail.
But my gosh, I think.
Story.
Well, let's just say you hit the important details, Bobby. Bobby Lashley here on the Rich Eisen Show. So you're saying it's a combination of hard work, determination to succeed in amateur wrestling, a chance encounter with Kurt Angle, and then a random moment in time in which your life was on the line because you walked into a bank at the wrong place at the wrong time. And altogether, that's part of the reason why we're going to watch you go against Drew McIntyre in WrestleMania 37 on Peacock Saturday night, essentially.
It's destiny, man. It was destiny.
Wow.
Destiny. I remember laying in the bank. I remember laying down on the floor because what happened, these guys came into the bank, kicked the door down, I was in the back of the line, and all the tellers were facing the door, and I'm facing the tellers. So when they kicked the door open, the guy automatically went shooting, which was unfortunately right towards the back of my head. But because everybody was screaming because these guys were breaking through the door, I had turned my head to turn around. So the bullet essentially went right over my shoulder into the wall. And when I saw them, I took a dive down to the ground. So I'm laying down on the ground thinking, what is going on? You know, I was thinking, and what went through my mind over and over again, it was like, this is not the way it's supposed to end. You know, I kept thinking that over and over again. I'm completely vulnerable laying on my stomach on a bed when it's getting robbed. And all I was thinking is, man, this is not how it's supposed to end.
And remarkably, it was a beginning of a remarkable ascent, you know, not just physically off the ground, but essentially to superstardom here with the WWE. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.